Good morning, and welcome back to the Aegis VOD reviews. When we last left off, B-Ball just absolutely demolished Morpiece, and now we sent Eniamor in to try and deal with Broken Ball. Eniamor's on a triple Elusives lineup, triple like Purifying Flames, and Broken Ball is playing Aatrox doing Cartwheels, and two other decks that are strong. The Ryze deck, and then I think all of us banned Heimer Jace, I'm pretty sure. From memory, Eniamor makes a lot of mistakes. I presume part of that is due to nerves, part of that is due to dislike of the Jinx Zoe deck, and part of that might just be like not knowing the matchup, but I don't know. But we'll just get started. Unless he's in game.
No, he's in game now. He's in game now.
Okay, this is Champless Iota. No, this is.
It's Bandle. Yeah. Bandle Elusives.
Okay. So I think Eni was looking for Purifying Flames there, which is why he discarded the Celestial Blessings. I presume Celestial Blessing also just isn't a high power card here. It's like +2 strength and +2 HP for 2 mana, which is fine, but I think you want to find other elusives besides like Winged Messenger. So I'm pretty sure this mulligan is fine. And you get to play Beard on one.
This is base starts. I mean, they don't run any sharp sights, right? And they don't run any elusive blockers. So
no,
they only have Fish Fight, Cataclysm, Aatrox is Deathbring this week.
I don't know if I like this attack from Eniamor.
So this is like catch and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this attack was interesting. If they have catch, this attack is awful because we've lost one of our blockers for what will end up being like a 4 strength unit if they catch like a quick attack weapon, or 3 strength if they catch a Bloodletters or an Aegis. But if they've got a natural weapon, this attack plays around in quotes the natural weapon. The only issue is that like the benefit that we're getting from this is 2 damage or a trade, and that's sort of up to their discretion. But the negative is such a massive blowout because their win condition is pressuring us to the point where our elusives aren't able to be like purely aggressive, I'm pretty sure. So this attack is interesting, and it's sort of like, do you have catch? Now we know that the answer is probably no, unless they've got a very specific hand that they want to keep mana for, or putting catch on specific units, such as like a challenger to deal with their elusives, or something like the Scout Tough to pressure us. But in general,
exactly that.
That attack is interesting. I don't know whether it's correct or not.
Oh, this music is so different. Your music's very nerve-wracking.
What do you mean?
Your background like board music, I find like the world right. Ender, whatever it's called, like the skin lane, very nerve-wracking.
Yeah. And he has to do purify. Why is he passing? This is
so this is a fascinating pass. He is saying, I'm willing to burn 2 mana to avoid 5 damage. But his deck wants to spend mana in order to be aggressive with elusives. So let's think about this. Over the next 2 turns, he's got 9 mana. With 9 mana, he can do a Purifying Flames and 1 of these elusives. For 9 mana, he could do 2 Purifying Flames and no elusives. Now, if he top decks like a 2 mana elusive, he can do Purifying Flames, or even a 1 mana elusive. He can do Purifying Flames, 3 mana, or 2 mana. But if he passes here, he'll instead just have 7 mana, which is enough to do Purifying Flames plus 1 of these elusives. I think if you're thinking about the deck in general, the amount of mana you need to spend can sometimes be pretty high, especially since on like your lethal attack, you might want to be holding up mana for something like a Battle Bonds. And so making sure you're using your mana sufficiently is fine. If you're choosing between the possibility of top decking a 2 or 1 mana elusive unit and taking 5 damage, there's actually a decent argument for passing here. But because one of your elusives is a lifesteal unit, it becomes a bit more interesting where you could play the Purifying Flames, play your lifesteal unit, and keep repeatedly having this 2 mana worth of value gained and being able to actually apply to something or anything in life. I think this pass is really interesting. I think that it was possibly wrong, but I want to see what happens with this mana and what would have been different.
Maybe they just don't attack.
That's bad though, because then they're setting up their board while we're getting nothing done. And he has to do Purifying now. Like, there's nothing else that makes sense.
You might be choosing what to buff. I think you buff. Close. It's actually really close what to buff. Because if you buff too much on Sparklefly, it like loses to Fish Fang.
What is he doing?
So, instead of taking 7 damage, we decided to pass there, and B-Ball passed back. I think this is a fascinating pass by B-Ball. I presume he had some sort of hand read that implied that this was the correct play. But this is just a fascinating start of a game already, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, Eniamor.
And we top decked a 2-mana unit.
You might be thinking of going
so
for a double Purifying Flames thing.
No, but you have to use the mana. This is just griefing.
He chose to give... I'll make a point of this. He chose to give +3/+3 to this one instead of this one. The logic is that the only ways they can interact with our units are through fish fights and Cataclysm, as well as like the challenger keyword, right? And so if you go all in on a single unit, they need to be repeatedly throwing bricks at the wall until it eventually goes into its endless slumber. And so if you were to put less HP on this and more HP on this, you would be like splitting your win conditions. Now this win condition is more powerful in quotes because it's elusive, but this one also had been chimed, so this was going to be dealing more damage and has more HP. I like... Wait a minute, if this was chimed, then they gave +3 to this and +2 to this. I'm not as big a fan of this all of a sudden. I get that we want more strength on the lifesteal unit, but I really think that our best way of playing around stuff is by giving more HP to our largest threats. And I think that we can keep this around as the largest threat. Now, this one has lifesteal. If we keep this around, it will be stronger. But I kind of don't want to put all my eggs in this basket, especially since we've got something like a Battle Buns. I think what Annie wants to do is do the second Purifying Flames and also hit this and then be able to make this even larger, which is an interesting option where this will be played on our next attack turn and we'll have 7 strength and 8 defense on turn 6, which is pretty decent. But I do like the idea of giving extra HP to this. I guess it's sort of your choice if you want to give this even more HP and put 2 Purifying Flames on it and then you're life-stealing every single turn. Or you want to be like applying the extra damage now. And I think I'm a fan of applying extra damage now. I like it when this number goes down. But I think Annie likes it when this number goes up. And so I think he's trying to do it that way.
Because now he's so behind on tempo. He can actually just get run down.
So we could be at 7 less HP here, but have 2 more mana in the bank.
We currently have a lethal with Purifying Flame, Sparklefly, Bandle Commander. Oh no, they'll pull it. We have to break even. Okay.
Alright, this Pokey Stick is interesting. By doing this Pokey Stick, we're giving ourselves only 9 mana next turn. 9 mana is enough for Purifying Flames, Sparklefly, Bandle Commando. And it allows us to threaten to keep our Winged Messenger alive. They need to put something on this Valor right now, which would be a catch, in order to make it so that they can kill Winged Messenger. Alternatively, they can pull with this and then fish fight. They can also fish fight and then pull with this. But that's sort of why we're doing this Pokey Stick, is to try and keep this Winged Messenger alive, or at least threaten keeping the Winged Messenger alive. I think it's fine, because we've got the right amount of mana to do all of these. I think it's fine because we have 9 mana over the next 3 turns in order to progress our win condition. That we can spend 2 mana in a position like this, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Which means we can't win next turn.
But they have catch, and I'm just a little curious where it came from.
Which means we can't win next turn.
I think that might have mean that they had catch when we quote-unquote checked for catch last time, which is interesting. It means Broken Ball was definitely playing around a position like this. Because Broken Ball's just like an insane player. Good job, Broken Ball.
Okay, their hand is interesting.
We're taking a lot of damage, but if this is their hand, I think we should be okay.
They also have to pull like this.
Yeah.
So we buff up the Sparklefly. They actually can't kill Sparklefly without like Cataclysm on Valor or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I've got enough mana to afford Bandle Commander as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. I've got Winged Messenger stuck
Ankle
on.
fly.
Oh, he's doing the because Beeble did it to you.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he did that because Beeble did it to you, I think.
Okay. No fish fight.
If this was our plan all along, I think we could have taken that 7 damage and healed with the Sparklefly. And been able to keep that 2 mana extra, either playing one of these or even playing like this Owlcat. Interesting. Okay.
We've got so many elusives in hand, and we've got the Pantheon spell.
We should be okay. We should win.
Yeah. It might be close depending if they've got second Aatrox and like they heal awkward amounts, but even still. Yeah, good chance their best play here is
let's
something
go.
like Dural. Yeah.
They just FF.
I honestly forgot Eniamor won. I thought Eniamor got 2-0'd. Good job, Eniamor.
Yeah.
Sorry, I really thought this was a loss. I was looking at it and I was trying to work out why was this a
I'm
loss?
happy to see that one.
Oh, as am I.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And then I think we win only 1 game in the rest of the tournament.
What did they ban? No.
Oh, I really thought we lost that one.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm surprised at how much like tension was relieved as soon as the win happened. I didn't feel tense, and now I
Yeah.
just feel so relieved.
Yeah, I know. Alright, let's see which one got banned.
So to talk about like the overall like happenstance of that matchup, I think Mobius was definitely seeing it as a like tempo, like a mana tempo. We've got to make sure that we're applying enough pressure in terms of like getting value from our cards in time. But I think Aatrox had to see that, especially with that hand, as a very like aggressive situation. Them missing out on 7 damage might actually have been a misplay from them, only because they weren't able to actually make us care. Alternatively, because we had double purifying on the Sparklefly, we sort of just won on the spot. So I think Eni had the foresight to realize that if he does the +6/+6 by doing 2 purified elusives on Sparklefly, that was probably a better win condition than my pathetic Winged Messenger line. So I think Eniamor played this game really, really cleanly, and all my commentary was completely wrong and useless.
I think it's also
What do you reckon it'll be?
they
I'm
probably
putting my
banned the
bets on a
Jinx.
ban Jinx.
Oh no, this is
No,
Jinx, right?
they banned Champless Ionia.
I think it's funny, that game was like 6 turns long and was just like elusive beatdown. So like anyone that isn't invested in this just sees this as like the most boring game in the world. Like if it was ladder, no one would care. But
Yep.
the amount of tense because of the
amount of tension.
yeah, no, the amount of tense. Okay. This is an awkward mulligan. Do we keep Esmus?
I would.
I guess because their deck's like quite slow. Like they're not gonna apply that much pressure. We can probably do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this mulligan, we decided to keep Esmus to allow ourselves to apply pressure, put a chime on something, buff up an elusive, blah 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 blah. I think there's an interesting line where you keep Zornate Urchin, but because you're already mulliganing, you're already playing Zornate Urchin in your mulligan. Like, your mulligan phase is Zornate Urchining a card, but you're not developing a 2-1. And obviously we don't want to set up in our opening hand. I think this is fine. I think there might be worlds where you get rid of Esmus, because I don't know if Esmus is aggressive enough. Esmus is just okay. But...
Yeah, this is okay.
Ooh.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
And our hand
And
is
if we don't throw a unit,
interesting,
we
but
can-
maybe awkward.
Get the chime on the. I was gonna call it the Asp. What's it called? The Poro. But the Poro cannon. The Daring Poro.
That's a bit awkward.
So, I mean, a little. I was wondering if there's ever a line where we Mystic Acorn.
I think we just trade acorns.
Yeah, okay. And I presume we're discarding a. Oh, what's more important, a chime on a Poro or the Mystic? I presume a chime on the Poro.
Yeah, interesting choice here. We're going to top deck something, and if that's a unit, it will be chimed. If it's an elusive unit, it will be pogged if it's chimed. But we don't really need these Mystic shots as much. Like, they will be useful for burn later, but right now we just need to make sure that we're actually getting elusive damage through. Because we're not going to win with just burns. We need to make sure that we're doing at least some unit-based damage to begin with. And so discarding a Mystic Shot for a Poro Cannon here is interesting. It just gives them a massive hand read that we have no elusive units in hand. A Mystic Shot that wasn't discounted, which might mean that it was either 2 or more of the other card in hand, and that we need to discard something like a Mystic Shot, which is, like, it's not bad, but I wouldn't be discarding Mystic Shot if my hand was pretty decent.
It does give them a hand read that we don't have any elusives. Oh, no.
No! Oh, that's so bad.
Okay.
Fuck.
And they know, right? Because they see the chimes if it's a revealed card.
Yeah. Shit. Stress levels are rising once again.
Mhm.
Especially with no Jinx in hand. Oh. We're fucked by Caustic, yeah.
Do we discard Poro Cannon? Or am I just insane? Mystic. That makes way more sense, actually. I like it.
Our hand is not looking that great. Our hand is looking pretty bad.
Okay. What? We get in 4?
Now, this was really
Mystic
good that we
runs
got
off
our
no
attack
units,
here.
Right? It's just like assembly bottom the champions.
Yeah.
But
Well, there's Acathian myths, I guess.
Interesting.
so I think that discard is really interesting. And I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have discarded Celestial Blessing or Poro Cannon with Dawnate Urchin, because I think I would want to draw cards here into something like a Suit Up or a Jinx or a Purifying Flames or something like that. And to see Dawnate Urchin going to add 2 damage is interesting. Now, we've got 1 elusive damage here because it'll buff up an elusive. We've got 2 here and we've got 2 here. We've got 5 elusive damage in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so it's fine to go for this line because it is guaranteed 5 elusive damage. But I don't know if we're in a good enough position to say, yep, all we need to see is 5 elusive damage in hand. That's it. I think that our hand is a little too awkward for that and that we might need to discard something. I would probably discard Celestial Blessing here to try and draw a high power card or a Jinx or something. So I'm not sold by this play. I see why it might be powerful, especially since they didn't have a Mystic Shot to kill the Zornite Urchin. But I don't know. I'm not sold by this as a strong play. Or it might not be a strong play. I'm not sold by it being our best play.
I probably wouldn't have done that. Would have played one of the Poros first.
challenging.
Yep. Yep.
So this is something that I struggle with as well. Whenever I see a Victor, I always forget that it can get Challenger. Before it gets its Hex Tech thing. I have lost maybe 5 or 6 times in video games of Legends of Runeterra to me developing after they played Victor and then them getting Challenger on first or second keyword and me basically losing the game because of it. I think that in this position we could have waited for them to do it, especially since we weren't crying with our mana. Like, our mana wasn't going to be a concern. Our cards had like 0 worth of mana in hand. Definitely could have passed and seen what Victor was going to get, because if they don't get Challenger, then we can develop. But if they do get Challenger, then we're fine. And if they pass, fantastic. Our mana is useless, right? We're going to have so much mana over the next million turns and nothing to spend it on. So I think that this was a unnecessarily forward play into a possibility of a Challenger on a Victor.
Not looking good. You need a Jinx top deck.
Oh,
That's so funny. Oh
That's
my
so good.
goodness.
As soon as I saw this moment, I knew I wanted to edit it to be like the zoom in is funny look
they
thing.
pass. Do we pass back?
This is a really good top deck. We got pretty lucky by this. It's not gonna 100% bail us out of the game, but it's a really funny top deck.
If they pass, do we pass back?
Mm-mm. That's how we lose the game.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, I think I'd rather be a bit more protective of Jinx if at all possible. Like, I know we get the Super Mega Death Rocket, but, like, maybe
Yeah,
if they
but
play Bar next turn, they may... But they'll still have enough.
No, they still have enough mana regardless. Like, it's just too hard to, like, win the game if we let them just go late. Oh, this is an awkward spot though.
Now we... pass.
Yeah, now we just pass.
Prank us. Ooh. Yeah, they can't kill Jinx, right?
They can't. They can.
Wait.
With, what's it called?
Stomp.
Oh no,
Jinx.
never mind. Yeah, she's becoming 4. They can't kill Jinx, but
Yeah, so... Like, we won't get the Rocket, but we will get the Draw 2 and the Quiet... And the... It won't be a great chance
Yeah, I
of Rocket,
think-
that's the thing. Like, if we draw
I think
units,
it's
we
hard
won't
to
get the
decide
Rocket.
what to do.
So we're in a fascinating position. We can play Jinx, but we can't play the Rocket because it'll just get pranked. We can play Jinx now and get the draw 2 for next turn. Or we can keep Jinx around and make sure that we at least get a guaranteed Rocket next turn based on whatever we draw, right? I think playing Jinx here in most instances is going to be correct, just because we can keep Jinx around and we're decently likely to get a Rocket. Now, if we get 2 units, we won't get a Rocket. And if they open kill Jinx, we won't get a Rocket, but I think they might want to open Bar, so they might not have the opportunity to open kill Jinx. But I think it's a really fascinating position, and this prank is doing some really powerful work by just being in hand at the moment.
Yeah, I ultimately do like playing Jinx for the
I do
draw.
too.
He gets to essentially deny. 1 mana deny.
I do think this has to be better than...
Okay.
Interesting.
That's
Can we
unplayable.
play that? No.
No, it's unplayable.
And this sucks quite a
It's
lot.
So bad. Oh my fucking goodness. Of all the cards to get, are you fucking serious?
And if we drew a unit, it would have been fine as well. Like, a unit and flames. Interesting. We're gonna start drawing. We're gonna have a lot of bricks in here, though. Like, I think this pass is great. I just think, like, we won't be able to get a Rocket next turn either.
Yeah.
With 8 mana, we'll have... No. We draw 2 1-drops, we still can't avoid it.
We need like discard stuff to be able to.
I mean, the hope is to get like 2 elusives and just purifying them. Okay, if this is deal 2 to the weakest.
Yeah. No, deal 2 to the weakest isn't even good because
No.
it'll kill the other one. I hope Annie knows that.
Okay.
I like this.
Yeah, it means that like if they don't kill Jinx and we get 2 units, we can still maybe get it in. But I presume it's going to be Thermo or 2 spells or something. Interesting.
So this turn has been pretty fucked. We didn't have a way to get our rocket, and we got +3 damage on a Pyro, but so what? And now that our Jinx is dead, we can't really do too much. They're going to start playing bar, they're going to start killing our Elusives. We're in a really bad position.
There's a 7% chance of Jinx.
Jinx still has the same issue.
Well, we can play the card on the Jinx, but
Ah, yeah, true.
yeah.
No, but no, we wouldn't have had. Wait, no, yeah, we do have. Fuck! Not another acorn. Piece of shit. What?
Oh no. Is this Hex
Do we have
Obliterator?
something? It must be. Oh,
Oh, okay, Spirit Gem.
it's just. That's cringe. 'cause
And
now
slowly our world is crumbling before us.
There's a chance that their hand is a little brick though. One of these cards is the Ryze card.
Yeah, we know.
I'm not going to assume you watched the first video, but if you did, you'll know that Eni found this deck his weakest out of all of his 3 elusive Purifying Flames decks. He thought the Jinx Zoe one was the worst one. Even worse than like Ionian without a champion. And part of the reason, as I'm seeing, is that we've drawn so many of these like buff cards that aren't units, and it's just sort of been awkward. And especially with that Jinx turn, like even the possibility of having a Jinx that you've got what 10 mana open and you're drawing 2 cards and you'll have the possibility, a pretty decent chance, just a Purifying Flames and a spell to just brick yourself, I think is really unfortunate. And I can see why. I think he wanted to cut Jinx or something from this deck. He wanted to cut some package, whether it was Jinx or Purifying Flames. I don't remember which one at this point. Just to make the deck actually make sense. And if you know anything about best of 3s, you know that he loses the next 2 if he's going to lose to Broken Ball here. Which means he loses with this deck twice.
Things just got a lot harder.
Healing.
Oh, fucking healing. That's fuck.
Okay. Huh. Mhm.
And this game is basically
Oh,
over.
man.
What would be B-Ball's second deck?
Sorry.
What would be B-Ball's other deck? Is that Aatrox?
Yeah, because we beat Aatrox, remember?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm so fucking stupid. I just realized Mob Piece meant we beat Aatrox in the last round. I thought... Sorry. I thought he meant that like we beat Aatrox as in like his lineup beats Aatrox, which I guess both are true in theory. But Moppy's good. I don't think my brain was working that day, and you'll see by my match that my brain definitely wasn't working that day. But you have to wait for tomorrow for that one.
I'm sure we've lost this. Oh, we've definitely. Trying to think of outs. Oh yeah, no, that's GG. He's gonna heal, and he should just concede here. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, that's very funny.
I mean, we still lose.
Yeah, it's really
Like-
funny.
What the fuck?
Do we not attack?
I'm not going to commentate over the rest of
He's
this
actually
game.
just fucking BMing us.
The rest of this game
is
doesn't
bullshit.
matter. It makes no sense
Are
and
we
no one
genuinely
cares.
not supposed to attack?
I mean, we are, but like, I don't know what the fuck Eddie is doing.
Is he gonna go for a Ryze win condition? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. Can he just swing at him, bro? What the fuck, Eddie? Goodness. And you just concede, buddy. It's over. He's picked lifesteal overwhelm, Andy. Just concede. Maybe he's just thinking about next game.
Okay.
Alright, you can win this.
I sure hope so.
I mean, this was the harder matchup.
Yeah, I think this was his least good one.
Yeah.
I'd like to see any samples. Thank you.
Okay. Untoss, get excited, keep the rest. Nice.
Wow.
Interesting mulligan. So this mulligan is cool because we have the Poro Cannon plus the Jury Rig, which means that we can definitely go for like getting the 1/1 and getting the 2 Elusives, but we're not getting any like buff spells, like no Purifying Flames, no Esmus, no Celestial Blessing. But we do have the Jinx, and we've got cards that want to like spew themselves out with the first 2 cards. So it's a very interesting mulligan. They also don't have many ways of killing Jinx. It's through challenges or fish fights. But if we can play a Jinx flip, it'll be really powerful.
Unlucky on that draw, but
We skip the block here because Jury Rig will probably block out more damage at some point in the future. Imagine if Jury Rig blocks, for example, like a Quinn with a harp on it. That's 5 damage as opposed to 2 damage. So that's why we're not blocking with Jury Rig here.
Zoe. Okay, interesting. I think I would have played Daring for it before Zoe. But... Ah, I guess you want the Zoe first. Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't actually matter against their deck. Like what?
Fish fight, right?
Fish fight?
Yeah, like a one-way fish fight. It's two-way fish fight.
I guess.
A very minor optimization choice. Do you want to get 1 level up progress on Zoe, or do you want to make it so that their fish fight, if they decided to do one-way fish fight there, would be better? Because it'd be better if one-way fish fight hit a Daring Poro than a Zoe. So if you first play the Daring Poro and maybe they play one-way fish fight right now, then it would be good. I don't think they're ever playing one-way fish fight unless their hand is Mega Brick, like it's got 3 fish fights and no challenger units. But if their hand is 3 fish fights and no challenger units, then they might have played two-way fish fight there. And if they did two-way fish fight there, it might have been better to play the Daring Poro, make them want to do their two-way fish fight and then do Zoe. But I think even if they had triple fish fight and no other units, they might have not done it then. They might have waited still like a little bit longer. So it's interesting.
But if they two-way fish fight, a 1-1. A good Equinox.
Bad luck.
So I think in this position, I would have wanted to Equinox. It's worse into a 1-mana unit, because then the other Broadwing will get Challenger, but turning one of their Broadwings into just a mere 0-3 that doesn't do anything, unless they put, like, I don't know, Darken Harp on it or something, I think it's pretty decent for us, and it also would protect one of our Elusives, and our hand is pretty expensive, so we're not going to get Jinx down anytime soon. It might take 2 or 3 turns before Jinx even pretends to start coming down. So I think I would have played typical Star Chart here, just to try and get that. Alternatively, like, you can get Mood Silver and something, and we're not really doing much else with the Typical Star Chart. The only reason not to play Typical Star Chart here is if you really want to bank your 2 spell mana, just so that we've got more options next turn, which is definitely a possibility, but I think there's a good chance that next turn you're still going to end up trying to play Typical Star Chart, whether you're trying to get the 3-3 Elusive, whether you're trying to get Double Stun, whether you're trying to get, I don't know, Dog or something. And so I would have liked to see Typical Star Chart be played now, for the possibility of Equinox to put on the Broadwing to make the Broadwing nullified and to keep our 3 Elusives around.
Yes. I would do that then. I think Eni needs to like push with what.
Alright, so if he wanted to get excited this, that was definitely a line. It loses a fair bit to catch. Like, basically we lose the game if they've got catch, because we've lost some of our burn, we've lost our typical Star Chart, and we've still lost our Elusive. So I think that's why he didn't do get excited. But because he didn't do get excited, I still think typical Star Chart would have then been better, right? Obviously, it is discard fodder, so there is a chance that we want to discard it in future, but I think typical Star Chart was just correct here. I'm struggling to see why it wouldn't be.
Whatever
I will
remaining
continue.
damage he's got on board, and then try and burn him out. That seems like the most likely way to lethal him to me. Especially with this sort of hand. Yeah, I like it.
I want to talk about this suit up. So you can suit up here, it pushes 4 more damage, and we're not doing that much else with our mana. Alternatively, we could have tried to play Jinx. Jinx would be threatened by, say, Jural plus Fish Fight, but Jural plus Dark and Aegis plus Fish Fight. But we've still got Mystic Shot and Get Excited, so when they do that, we would be able to Mystic Shot or Get Excited that unit and prevent it from killing Jinx. Unless they put it on the Elkin. If they put it on the Elkin, it's a guaranteed hit, isn't it? Alright, then this makes sense. My bad. I was thinking if they put it on the Broadwing, because it's got Formidable, we can deal with it. But they could just put it on the Elkin if it's Aegis. If it's Spear, we'd be fine. If it's Bloodletters, we'd be fine. This does push more damage, and as Morbius was saying, like, we need to be pushing our unit-based damage now because it will be harder for us to push unit-based damage later. And the best thing that Sudop can do, besides be a discard target in this matchup, is be like physical damage, like unit-based damage. And so I think it makes sense. It's just that now we've got 8 mana next turn, and our hand is a little bit interesting for trying to use that mana. And Jinx would also be able to get a swing in here, by the way. Like, Jinx would kill one of these units or deal 4 damage, which is the other reason why I wanted to play Jinx.
Star shaping.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's so cringe. Makes 0 sense, but yeah.
They've not equipped yet.
They have not. Ooh.
And if they do,
that's
we
good
might
up.
double stun.
Oh yeah. Please, any look for it, look for it, look for it, look for it.
I mean, even like Equinox is good because it stops 2 of the
Yeah.
I want.
So I've pointed out a few things that might have been misplaced or might not have been from Eniamor's side. They're mostly based on perspective and how you want to play the matchup. And so, in general, I think Eniamor's played fine, had definite improvements that he could have made, but I think this is the most egregious misplay he makes, and it's to not play super cool star chart here.
I do think our draw was kind of insane though.
That's gonna help us like accelerate our win condition one.
Yeah.
And like if they try and kill one of our Elusives, we can like Mystic shot the Broadwing or something. The
Yeah.
only
I
issue
think
is, like,
Annie's
Fishman.
like thinking about saving it for get excited fodder, which I don't think is correct.
No, because it'll be drawing cards.
No, Annie, what
No.
are you doing? Annie.
So, and Annie will explain this at the end of the game. Annie thought about this hard and was thinking that according to him, the only way that he loses is double fish fight. That's the only way he loses this game. Because he can, I think in his mind, he can guarantee a Jinx flip and guarantee Jinx level burn and have enough elusive damage that the super cool star chart is unnecessary, in that it would be best used as discard fodder because that's more guaranteed, and based on his hand, he has the ability to win the game. I don't know if that's true. The numbers don't make sense to me, and if any would like to explain himself, he can go right ahead. But to me, I think that even if he thinks he's got a guaranteed win against double fish fight, playing super cool star chart here, I can only imagine would beat that hand as well, right? Because this super cool star chart will do a double stun to block, 12, 14 incoming damage? Or a serpent would deal 3 more elusive damage, or a charger would be like a massive blocker, or Moonsilver would make something cheaper, or Doggo would draw something and be a blocker. Every single hit. Even fucking protection. You play Jinx, they don't immediately fish fight, you play protection, you win. Like Moonglow. Every single hit, I'm pretty sure, is absolutely amazing for us. And to see him not go for it is just really saddening. Especially since we're not flipping Jinx this turn, and if we do super cool star chart, we can still possibly flip Jinx next turn. And if not flipping Jinx next turn, we're able to exude so much pressure that the Jinx flip and the rocket will be on the turn after, and that's also fine. So I really think the super cool star chart here is just absolutely phenomenal, and if anyone wants to write a comment about like, oh, I had guaranteed lethal based on this very specific line, I would like to see it, but I genuinely just don't know what that is.
The griefing. What the fuck? We're just dead if he plays fucking the 4-mana one. Fucking repulsed. Or if we're fucking having to spend burn on killing a unit. Which is really bad. Fish fight.
I don't envy any being in this position.
I don't know why he didn't do the fucking 2-mana spell. Like, literally everything we get from that is good. Him keeping it for discard fodder makes 0 sense. Please use it, Annie.
The reason why we didn't Mystic Shot Get Excited that is that Mystic Shot Get Excited is 5 Nexus damage, and so the 4 Strength from the Paw or the 5 Nexus damage is worse for us. In addition, if they've got catch, we just lose if we try and put all our burn on the thing, because we've lost all our burn for no reason, and they still kill our unit. So that's why we didn't point that at the thing, if you're curious.
And he does such weird passes. No! I absolutely hate Eniamor's pass game.
So that pass was interesting. I think Mobbies really disliked the pass. I don't think the pass is all too bad, in as much as, like, we're pretty likely to be fine if they take it. The only issue is that we're not going to be able to flip Jinx and play all of these in our next turn, right? Because this will cost 4, this will cost 4, this will cost 3, and these will cost 4. So I think playing Suit up here was, like, perfectly redeemable, and I don't necessarily know why he didn't do it. I guess he was scared of, like, a one-way fish fight, but if they do that, we can actually just kill this thing and keep this around, maybe. I really wish we played this fucking super cool star chart, though. Would be a big fan of this one.
You're gonna play Jinx now?
Okay,
Why-
now I'm
Why do
lost.
you do that now?
Now
I'm
very
so
lost.
beyond confused.
Now, this is what really annoyed us. If we thought Eniamor was like, okay, maybe he's doing something else with the thing. He wanted to do something else with mana. I don't know. You said it's discard fodder, which made at least the most sense if you're not going to play it. And then he just fucking plays it. Serpent would be a fantastic blocker. Messenger would have drawn an amazing card. Charger is like a fine blocker. Any of the spells and the 3 mana would be insane. These 3 hits are probably the 3 worst hits, and the Serpent is still pretty fucking good.
I
What
thought he was
the
gonna
fuck
try
is
and
wrong?
land a Jinx this whole time.
I don't understand what you're doing, Annie.
I also don't know. Okay. Second fish.
When any at the end of the game says my player only loses to second fish fight, this is the fish fight to which he refers.
We land a Jinx. Mystic Urchin. Rocket. No, get excited. Stick on it.
Roar of Acacia?
Any at the end of the game says that this slow speed spell made him think it was Cataclysm. It could have been, but it wouldn't have been a great Cataclysm. But that was probably Roar of Acacia.
Oh. Well, they can't play it. So.
I was thinking what he might have tried to play.
But Annie's going to be
This is
playing around
Foster's
Cataclysm
spell.
this whole time.
Cataclysm doesn't make sense there.
It's gotta be Mystic Zonite, right? That way we're drawing an extra
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
And like developing.
Please, Eniamor.
This is so nerve-wracking.
What are you doing, Annie? No.
Puts them down to.
Mystic Urchin. Go, quick. Annie. No! I don't understand him.
I think Annie was extremely nervous. You can tell by what he's looking like he's trying to do. You can tell by his I don't know if Supercool Star Chart was nerves, because he at the end of this game says that he was pretty fine with not playing Supercool Star Chart there. Although I presume when I was playing, Morpiece just beat him to a pulp about the play, because I don't think Morpiece was a big fan of that play at all. But like the decision here to either get excited or Zonite Urchin, even though the correct play is to Mystic Zonite Urchin, that way we can draw a card from Zonite Urchin and have enough mana for Rocket and still be dealing 4 burn damage. We lose the get excited, but that's okay. Was definitely the right play. And I think it's really hard to find a way that isn't the right play. And very much in that order. You Mystic, then you Mystic, then you Zonite Urchin. I think what he was scared of was Cataclysm from Vayne on Jinx, right? That way, if they did that, we would lose our Jinx and lose the game, right? That's what he's scared about. And so what he wanted to do was make it so that they play Cataclysm and then we kill their Vayne with Get Excited Mystic or Mystic, probably Mystic in the end. And that way we keep our Jinx around. I think that's what Annie was trying to do in this position. But not only was that likely not a Cataclysm, it could have been a Cataclysm. I'm not doubting the possibility of a Cataclysm. I still think we're better off doing Mystic Zonite Urchin, trying to draw something and just seeing what happens. Because we're not beating Cataclysm on Vayne with this play. We sort of are, but I don't think they would do Cataclysm on Vayne. It's interesting. If you, like, Annie clearly thought that was Cataclysm. Very clearly, but I don't know. It's just tough because we're not flipping Jinx here, and then they can just play Cataclysm this turn. Especially since they might get they'll get their Aatrox this turn. Can they afford weapon Aatrox Cataclysm? No, they can't. Okay. Look, I can see what Annie was trying to go for by trying to play around Cataclysm, by having ways to throw burn at Vayne. I think it's not... This line isn't as bad as it looked to me at the moment, right? I understand why he's doing this. I still think it's, like, abhorrently wrong, but at least I understand what's going through his brain.
Anymore. Any what?
Now that he's done this, though, it's interesting. If they do this does technically play around Cataclysm. Because now if they Cataclysm Vayne into Jinx, Jinx won't die. I see why he wanted to do it like this. I don't agree with it, but this he's still technically at this moment playing around Cataclysm.
He doesn't get how
I
this
don't.
card works.
It should have been Mystic
I'm thinking more and more about this. I think this is really interesting. This is way more interesting than I gave it credit for in the moment. In the moment, I was like, Annie, you're a fucking moron. But this very specific line has played around Cataclysm. The extra 1 damage from Get Excited probably won't matter. If it was 2 damage, it would still be the same amount of like rockets and Aatrox heal play around lethal. But this does beat. Well, no, it does. It does beat Cataclysm, and the previous lane would lose in quotes to Cataclysm because we'd be trading our champions. I don't know how to think about this. I feel like I really disliked Annie's play, but I can see the logic behind it,
so
even if I think it's
frustrating
wrong.
to watch, man.
I do think it was still better to do Mystic Urchin.
Aatrox can come down.
And we're also forced to block a hull. So
Yeah,
we've got like
I'm
quick attack.
confused, man. Oh my goodness. Bro, if that wasn't a unit, we would have actually been fucked again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and then here comes fucking Aatrox.
I don't even know if that's actually the best. Like, so we lose everything but Jinx. And then they get a tumble if we ever give them options, so we can't open. Okay, that's a choice. It's better to top deck Get Excited.
Again, he's already griefed this game. We need to get excited.
Switch these two around anything.
Sorry?
Switch these two units in the block. Yes. Okay.
Please get excited.
We kept Jinx instead of Zoe there because Jinx draws us 2 cards, and while Zoe does more guaranteed of 4 damage, because it's elusive and can open attack, the Jinx also does 4 damage because of the rocket. I do like keeping the Jinx around, trying to draw 2 cards.
Excited one time.
But this is still a really bad position because they've got
Get
Tumble.
excited
Technically
one
don't.
time.
Well, we do lose, right? Because they tumble
Oh,
Aatrox,
no,
they
yeah,
heal too.
'cause they tumble. Yeah.
I think we discard
Please
Acorn.
discard Acorn. Please discard Acorn.
Okay. Very funnily enough, Get Excited to top deck in. Okay.
Yeah.
Aatrox spell. Third fish fight. Cataclysm.
Okay, he has
Bait.
to do the rocket now, please.
Bait.
Interestingly, when they were playing that fast speed spell on the stack, that Morpiece thought was Roar of Acacia and Annie thought was Cataclysm. It could have also been Valor, which I think is fascinating.
Please rocket. Please rocket. Thank you. Thank you.
Cat.
Oh, we're dead. Fuck's sake. Dude, any actually hard grief this game. I'm so sad.
So very
Right.
sad occasion.
It's up to you, Spidz.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I wish you hadn't said that.
Hold
now I
on.
feel very nervous.
If we had played this guy after they played Valor... No, they played Valor, then we did the rocket, right? We didn't pass there? Right, no, it just looked like the pass button did something, but we didn't pass there. My bad. I was going to say maybe we could have developed this and still could have swung with it. Could have swing with it and then had... I guess we didn't have discard for us, we wouldn't have top deck Get Excited out, but...
So very
No,
sad
that's fine.
occasion.
It's up to you, Spidz.
Oh
It's
fuck! Yeah, I wish you hadn't said that. Now I feel very nervous.
No, it's okay. You're gonna win, Spidz.
Yeah, totally.
Right, no, I don't think so.
You're the better player, so of course you win.
Against Speedball?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yes.
You seen Bebo? He's playing right now. He's really good.
No, you're the better player though.
We can attack with Jinx, right?
Yes.
But we can't block down favorable. Yeah, blocking down favorably doesn't occur. If Zoned Urchin was a 3-1, it'd actually be really funny.
Yeah, so we've seen all their spells, right? So that spell that Annie thought was Cataclysm, Morpheus thought was Revocathia, was Blinding Assault. Oh, that's fascinating. I wonder if Broken Ball was trying to make us think it was Cataclysm. Or trying to make Annie think it was Cataclysm. But that's really fascinating.
It's crazy. If any of these had one more string. Never mind, they re-ghost everything. I do be shaking.
Every last monster will be purged.
It's trembling so much. What up, Buttercup?
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure there was a way I could have won. I didn't.
Yeah.
The start chat fucked
You
me up.
definitely. That was really confusing. Why you
I was
didn't
going for an
immediately play it.
elusive.
No, but like, why
No,
didn't you
no,
immediately?
no. That's not the wrong play at all. No.
Yes, it is. It
No,
absolutely is.
no, it isn't. It isn't. Because I can actually win through, the only way I lose is double fish fight there. I have like 100% lethal at the time, unless double fish fight. It's actually correct to just let them do that and just wait it out, because I have other options there. Like, I'm trying to figure out if I can
No,
Jinx
it's
lethal.
it's not correct because you did it anyway.
I know I did it anyway, but there's a thing called actions. On the basis of actions, there is a reason for me to wait. I didn't get the
No,
stun.
there actually
There
wasn't
isn't.
a reason for you to wait because you have way higher odds of winning the game if you just do that first and see what you had.
I actually disagree, because there was a line where I could have gone for a Jinx lethal, and then it's dependent on literally what I top deck.
Yeah, I get that, but it's still more correct to do the. Look, don't worry. We'll talk about it later when we review. But this is Spidz. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Spidz.
Is Spidz there?
I am.
Okay.
It was just domestic violence. She didn't want to hear it.
I mean, yeah, but I'm definitely not shaking and like on the verge of tears due to stress.
It's all good.
This is
Okay.
very nerve-wracking.
You'll be okay. Do you know what you're banning?
Yeah, I'm banning the Heimer James,
Mhm.
which because like it sucks because I have to do a mirror.
Yeah. No, but you win mirrors.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do, because you're the better player.
I just have you seen B-Ball? He's smart.
Yeah, but I've also seen you. What?
Spidz, don't worry. He's like drunk, and it's like 4 a.m.
It is late. Like it's currently 4 or 5 a.m. in Italy.
No, Spidz, hear me out. You've got the silence and suppression tech.
I know. I
Yeah.
I am mirror tech. Yes, I've got
Exactly.
two silence and
So you
suppress.
win this.
But
You also Ryze tech.
yeah, the only issue is that like I've done this mirror so many times. It's just tough. They will just get something, and you won't have the right hand to deal with it. Or you will have a good hand, and they'll have the one thing that deals with it, and then it's basically just draw dependent, and it sucks. I'm gonna
Also,
quickly go to the loo. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Any, you were meant to double Mystic, discard to get excited.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And no, I was playing around with Catalysm and I shouldn't have. Like my thinking was because he did something on the stack and I thought it was Catalysm and then he took it
No,
away.
because Cataclysm doesn't make sense with what units he had on the board, so it had to have been like Roar of Acathia or Fish Fight.
Yeah, I know.
Because he didn't have,
lost
he
me
didn't
the
have,
game.
yeah, he didn't have damage to be able to kill your units.
Yeah, that lost me the game.
Yeah.
Fuck. If I was one off lethal,
Yeah.
It didn't stop the shaking.
It's okay, you'll be fine, Spidz.
Alright, I guess better Nate than leather.
Yeah.
sorry about that, Spidz. I
No.
could have definitely won it.
Yes, I know. All good. I'll I know that was very rude, but you gave me the opportunity. I'm gonna go. Fuck me.
And that's the end of this one. I'm getting really into my emotions here, and I'm remembering how this next game goes and how I feel during it. And it is not a good time. But to give like a summary on Eniamor's games, I think Eniamor had tough hands sometimes. I think Jinx Zoe isn't as strong a deck as it seemed. And I think anyone knew that even before he submitted his decks. You can see that time when Purifying Flames meant that we couldn't flip Jinx. You could see the time where our hand was like too low to the ground. Like it's an elusive deck, but like it was too low to the ground and we needed that Jinx top deck to even have a chance. I think the hands with stuff like Esmus can be really, really awkward. And when it pops off, but I don't think it needs all that stuff to pop off. And I think you can make the deck more consistent in other ways. I think Eniamor definitely made some misplays, although I'm a bit more understanding of him trying to play around Cataclysm. I just don't think that he can afford it, because I think he needs to continue trying to go for lethal, and if they've got Cataclysm, I think we might have... It's not that we would have been losing anyway. If they had Cataclysm, we're actually in like a really commanding position just because we were playing to beat Cataclysm. It wasn't that we were just playing around it. We were making it that if they've got Cataclysm and they do it, that it secures our win even more. But I think it was better for us to say that we wanted to be more able to win on our own merits as opposed to trying to win based on them having Cataclysm. Because they don't have Cataclysm there, we're actually shooting ourselves in the foot pretty hard. And I think that's sort of the main issue that what's happened in that game. If anyone, it would have been a lot better for us. Because we would have been in the next round and I wouldn't have to deal with this. And the next 42 minutes that you'll watch in tomorrow's video will be nothing but me complaining and agonizing over myself, my decisions, the decks that I brought, and everything painful. I had so many things I was saying, and most of them were along the lines of fuck me. So if you want to watch that, tune in tomorrow. Besides from that, have a wonderful day, and goodbye. Good morning and welcome back to the Aegis VOD reviews, where we just